Hello, everybody. How are you this afternoon? I can get everybody where I can see the take me a second to get there. Come on. As you're coming in, be sure you let me know you're there, how you're doing, and if you're a first-time viewer, please let me know where you're from. I always like to know that. And welcome. All right, let's see if we can find it here. Come on. There we go. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Joanne and Anna. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Leah and Berlene, Melinda. There's Stacy. Yes. I feel like I just saw you. Oh, Stacy's from Florida. Well, I hope you were safe from the hurricane we had lately. I hope you were spared from that. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get going. We're going to make a couple of Christmas bows I need to make. And we're going to be using the Easy Maker tonight. And if you're not familiar with that, this is, to me, if you have trouble making bows or just have sore hands, something like that, I think the Easy Bow Maker would be the route to go if I were to choose this. If I didn't know how to make bows, it's pretty user friendly. Right here is where we're going to put our ribbon spool. Right here is where all the action is. This uh, spools right here where we're going to have the center of our bow. Don't pay any attention to this little tab right here. This is used for if you want to make really small bows, like for a baby or something like that. I've never used it, but we're going to be making our bow right in here with the center of it. And you can see that from the side, as you go outward, there's hash marks where it tells you how many inches. You start here with 1 inch away from the middle of the bow and work your way out to about 8 inches. And that'll tell you where you can, gauge your bow loop. And yeah, so she had this sweater. I'm getting hot already underneath these lights here. It gets pretty warm. Hey, Vanita. Hey, Mary. Thank you for being here. Hey, Tanka. Names all are going so fast I can't hardly see who all's here. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to make two bows tonight. The first one is just going to be a traditional red velvet and Christmas plaid uh, bow. And the bows are going to have tails. And this size bow that I'm going to make, you could use it for a smaller Christmas tree, say like a 6-foot Christmas tree. Um, this is actually outdoor ribbon. There is a difference between indoor and outdoor ribbon. The outdoor ribbon feels like it's kind of plasticky on the backside, but this is really a nice quality red velvet. I love it. Get some every single year. And we're going to put our ribbon on our spool. And when we put it on the spool, you want it to have it to kind of go off and away from you. It stays out of the middle here. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, once I start making the bows, if you have any questions, go ahead and put the questions in the comments. I'll come back after I get the bow made and answer them as best I can. But it's hard for me to keep my train of thought if I keep looking up and back and forth with questions. But I promise you, I will go back afterwards and answer any questions you might have. So go ahead and put them in the comments. So anyway, we're going to start out here. And this ribbon or this bow is going to have tails. And I'm going to make it a little bit longer. Like I said, I want it to be where you could use it for a tree topper for a smaller tree also. Um, I'm going to make the tails about 16 inches. You can make them whatever length you want, but I've got 8 inches over here. Then I come over here and I see 8 inches on this side. And I'm going to hold my finger there because that's going to be the beginning of the bow. I'm going to put it down into these pegs vertically. The good side is going to be facing away from me. There's a good side which has the red velvet. There's the wrong side which has the plastic feel to it. I'm going to go down vertically, good side's facing away. I'm going to twist it as I go down. My tail's going to come down toward me here. And the reason I twisted it was because we have the right side and the wrong side of the ribbon. I want the good side of the ribbon to the front, okay? The wrong side is going to be on the inside of the bow loop. Now I'm going to make these bow loops about 6 inches, 6.5 inches. And I'm going down after my first loop is made, I'm going to take it down, good sides facing away again. I'm going to twist it as I go down. I'm going to push that down so your center is nice and tight. Now we've got our first bow loop made. Now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to repeat the same process. And it looks like over here I'm just about 6.5 inches. So I'm going to go about 6.5 inches over here. I'm marking that length with my thumb. I'm taking it down through those pegs, good sides facing away. Twist as I go down and push. Okay. All right, so we've got our first 2 loops done. I'm just going to keep repeating the process. On this one, I'm wanting 3 loops on either side. So now I've already got a loop on this side. I'm going to just use that loop as a guide because that's how big I want my other loops with this ribbon. So I'm going to take this down, good sides facing away. Again, I'm marking my size here, twist it as I go down, push it down in the middle. Just keep repeating the process. Again, good sides facing away, twist, push it down. Good sides facing away, push it down. Kind of hesitated there. This ribbon actually has a defect in it. I'm going to show you how we're going to take care of that. Okay, I don't want to have that defect in the middle of the bow loop. Let's go ahead and we're going to cut that out. And you're going to run across that. It's just, part of the manufacturing process. It's not 100%, You're going to come across defects. You're going to come across seams in your ribbon and everything else. So you just got to learn how to deal with it. Okay, so I was going to be needing the wrong side of the ribbon facing me. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to pinch it. Okay. I'm just going to set that down in there. I'm going to give me a pretty good stump because I'm going to be pulling on this ribbon, so I don't want that to slide back in there. All right, now I'm just going to come back, repeat the process, good sides facing away, twist as I go down. I'm going to come over here to the other side. Now, this is going to be my last loop with this ribbon. So I'm going to be kind of comparing here. I already have the good side of the ribbon facing me. So I'm just going to take it and I'm going to pinch, or pleat it is another word. And I'm going to make sure my edges are turned down. I'm just going to set that down in there. I'm going to go ahead and spread out my loops here, make sure I like what it looks like. I'm going to be careful that I don't pull that one loop out too much. So remember, we had that defect there, and so that's a little bit short. And I'll show you how we're going to deal with that when the bow gets all made. Okay, and we could stop right here, really. But we're not going to. Okay, now I'm going to come down here. I'm going to compare my tails. And I'm just going to trim my tail. Okay, let's set that one off to the side. Now let's come in here. I'm going to use my plaid next. Again, I'm putting the ribbon on with it on the spools, or the ribbons coming off the spool away from me. I'll come down here. I'm going to compare my tails. This one's going to be just a little bit shorter. Again, I've got a good side of the ribbon. I've got a wrong side of the ribbon. I'm going to put this down, good sides facing away. I'm going to twist it as I go down. Come around here. And let's see. I think I'm going to go with 2 loops here. And I'm going to make them just a little bit shorter than this one. So let's say about, I don't know, 5.5 or 6 inches. Good sides facing away. Twist as I go down. And notice every time I'm going to the center, I'm pushing that down. All right, we'll come back over here. Looking at my guide down here. I'm going to say about 6 inches. Good side's going to face away. Push it down. Now I've already got my previous loops, so I can just compare and see how I kind of got some play now. That ribbon's making my pegs kind of splay away, so it's not as tight. So I usually will hold my finger down here just to steady that ribbon. All right, same process, twist, push it down. Now this is going to be the last loop, so I don't need to twist. Come over here, compare my loop, pinch it, put it down in there. Make sure I like what I see. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to compare my tails again and cut them. Okay. Right now I've got a 1.5 inch ribbon in an outdoor red velvet. Put that down on the spool. The ribbon's coming off and away from me. I'm going to do the same thing. This tail's going to be a little bit shorter. I'll place this down my spools. Good sides facing away. Twist it. Push it down. And I'm just going to make 1 loop this time on either side. So we've got 3 of the 2.5, 2 of the tartan plaid. Now I'm going to do 1 in the middle here. And this one I make somewhat smaller. Let's make it about, I'm just eyeballing it here. Let's make it about 3 inches long. I put the ribbon down through the pegs, good sides facing away. Twist it, push it down. Same thing. I'm looking for my marks down here. Again, this is going to be the last loop. I'm going to pinch it. Good side's already facing me, so I don't need to twist it again. And push it down. Okay. All right, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to compare my tails. Okay, so we've got our first bow mostly done. Right now we need to secure it somehow. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my zip ties. You can also use pipe cleaners. You can use floral wire, whatever you like. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this underneath all the ribbon diagonally through those pegs there. Reason I do it that way, you can put it right beside it, but I usually end up getting my middle off. So I like to put it diagonally through. And when you're working with a zip tie, I used to assume people knew this, but now I started telling when I realize they don't. But there is there's one way to put a zip tie together, and it has this little knob here. This is the outside where that knob is. So I want that knob pointing down toward my feet because then I'm going to take this around and I'm going to secure it. And you should hear a ratcheting sound. If you do not, you don't have it the right way. All right, I'm going to lift this up gently. We'll place that underneath all that ribbon there. Put it across diagonally. And I'm just going to tighten it just a little bit. I'm not tightening it all the way down. Okay. Now I'm going to lift it up gently. Just out of the way. Now I'm going to cinch it down just a little bit more, just to where I can have a control over the ribbon, but I can use my hands a little bit freely. So I'm going to start at the bottom loop. Make sure everything's where I want it. Same thing over here. You might see that one of your loops are a little bit larger than the other, so now's the time to fix it. But don't panic if you miss that, because you can always fix it later. Okay, now I'm going to come up to the next ribbon. I'm going to make sure that I'm straddling this middle one here on the bottom. Sure you like what you see. Now I'm going to put this one, the one that just has the one loop on the other side. I want to make sure that I'm straddling that one also. Okay, so once you see that you like it, we'll work on your tails. Make sure they're coming down right. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to turn it around now. I need some way for the customer to be able to attach this to the wreath, the tree, the banister, whatever they're going to use it on. So I'm going to take a pipe cleaner. I'm going to slide it right underneath of that zip tie. And I'm going to take this time right now to make sure all my loops are good. Okay, I think that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and tighten it down. And sometimes, like if you've got some really stiff ribbon, I'll take my needle nose pliers and pull on that, but I think I got it down pretty tight. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. So there's our bow. Now, we still have this. Remember, I had to trim out that bad spot. So I'm going to come back here. We're going to cut that the rest of the way off. Okay, so I've got this. And then we had a little bit of a tail over here. We'll trim that off, but don't trim it too awfully short. Okay. So you got to think about, you're still going to be pulling on this. Even though we've got that zip tie tied pretty snug, we still got some play there. Now, I've still got that zip tie showing there in the middle. And I want to finish that. I want to cover it. So what I'm going to do, and you can use any of your ribbons, but I prefer to use a 1.5 inch ribbon. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the tartan plaid in there. I think that'll make that center of that bow pop. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my 1.5 inch ribbon. I'm going to cut it lengthwise. And I like to go up about, I say 8 inches at the least, but sometimes that's too short for me. So I like to err on the side of caution and go about 10 probably. I think I'm missing my half point there. That's okay. All right, just so that you're not shorting yourself. All right, let's cut that off. So I've got half of that ribbon. Now I'm going to take that and fold it under so that that raw edge is not showing. So I folded that in half. I'm going to place that right over that zip tie. And I'm making sure I got the tails on the correct side. And I'm telling you that because I've messed up and put them on the wrong side and then had to redo it. So Trying to save you some grief there, but see how that makes that middle of that bow pop a little bit better. I'll take this and I'll turn it upside down. Just tie this. Just so it's secure. Trim off the ends here. Okay. All right, now we need to finish the ends of our bow. So I'm just going to take these and dovetail them. And to dovetail, I'm just taking them and folding this in half. And I'm cutting it at an angle. And I think it just makes for a nicer finished end. Over here, and same thing on this side. Now you can also do this when you've got this, the bow maker on the bow maker there, but it doesn't really matter when you do it. All right, let's go ahead and dovetail this. I want this a little bit shorter. I like to layer my tails on this side. And they don't have to be exactly alike. Don't worry about it if it's not. And then on the middle here, you can either cut them at an angle like I did, or you can dovetail them. I think I'm going to cut the center ones at an angle. And again, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter than the other. And when I cut it at an angle, I want to make sure when I put my ribbons together that they're at a V. See how they make a V there? You don't want to cut it opposite. You want the eye going to the center. Okay. All right, so now we've made our first Christmas bow. And you wouldn't have to alternate your ribbons. If you wanted to use just all red velvet doing the same process, you could do that. Especially at Christmas, that's a perfect Christmas bow. Okay. All right, I'm going to come back to you now and see if I have any questions. Oh, thank you guys for all the follows. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I don't see any questions over there. Let me see on the other. Hey, Barbara from Georgia. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Stacy. Thank you so much. No questions? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Let's make another one. This one's going to be a little quicker. I'll still talk while I'm doing it, but we'll go a little bit quicker because I don't want you to think that it takes forever to make a bow, because it doesn't. A lot of times I'm sitting there watching TV. I can sit there and, knock out several bows in, just just one over after another assembly line. Okay, now let's go ahead and I'm trying to think of my pattern here. What I want to do. We're going to do that. Okay. These, I was going to tell you guys, I do have at my Adorable Deco Decor shop on Etsy. I do have both of these bows that we're going to make. I've got them listed if anybody's interested in purchasing. I also on boxmybow.com, I've got this ribbon set available. I've got some red velvet available too, but I can't remember what all I've got in there. I know I do have some red velvet. Maybe not the 2.5. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I think I do have a 2.5. When I say that out loud. Okay. Now this one we're going to do just a little bit differently. Again, I'm still going to put my ribbon on, coming off this ribbon coming off the spool away from me. Let's make 16-inch bow tails again. Again, I'm marking my tail there. Putting the ribbon down, good side's going away from me, just as I go down. right? Um, Let me think what I want to do here. This one's going to be a smaller bow. I'm just going to do one bow loop of this on either side. And this is going to be about a 6-inch bow loop. And again, I'm going to do a face, um, good size facing away. Twist as we go down. So we've got our 6 inches here. Come over here. Again, I'm just doing one loop of this on either side. So I'm going to put my thumb here at 6 inches. Right here's the center. I'm going to pinch it or pleat it, making sure the edges are turned down. Push it down. Come over here. Here are tails and trim. Okay. I'm looking to see how much ribbon I got. I got an open roll here. I'm going to use it instead. And when you're setting up your ribbon, you want to get yourself plenty of ribbon off of your spool. You don't want to be fighting with that all the time. Okay, I'm going to put this on top. Again, I'm going to be just a little bit shorter. Good side's going to face away from me, down the pegs. Twist as I go down. Now this one, what I'm thinking in my mind is I want two loops on either side of this ribbon. This one is the focus ribbon or focal ribbon, so to speak. And so I want more of it to show. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put two loops on either side with this green ribbon showing in between. I want them all the same length though, okay? So we're going to be about 6 inches. Push it down. Over here, using my other loop as a guide. My thumb is at the center of the bow. That down, gets away, down. Over here, same thing. Twist and push it down. Now this is going to be the last loop, so I don't need to twist it. I'm going to pinch it. Set it down in there. And again, I'm pushing that down so my bow center is nice and tight. Okay, now I'm coming down here. I'm going to compare my tails. Oops, I just pull on that. Need to sure that's right. Come back here. Okay. Now I pulled all my colors of the ribbon from my focal ribbons. Okay. And I wanted to bring out a little bit more of the emerald green there. It's really pretty, kind of a lame emerald green ribbon. I'll put it on the spool again. Good ribbon's going off and away from me. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put one loop on either side here, and these two loops are going to straddle. Okay, good sides facing away, twist, push down. And you'll see me kind of fussing sometimes with the center here. And what I'm wanting to do, I want to make sure my edges of the ribbon are turned under. You don't want them to turn up because then your bow loop's not going to set correctly. All right, now this one I'm going to make smaller. This last one was 6 inches. I'm going to come in about 5 inches on this one. That way you're going to have a layered effect where all the ribbons are showcased. Let's come over here. Again, I'm just doing one loop on either side. So I'm going to pinch and set it down in there. Okay, over here. Compare my tails. Okay. Now, I wanted to finish with a red velvet. It has some chenille on it. You can't go wrong with red velvet at Christmas. I'm telling you. Okay. Red velvet with chenille, that's a home run in my case. Everybody watches me very regular, you know I love chenille. Okay, now I'm gonna bring this I'm gonna compare my tails. I've got the center marked here, good sides facing away, twist, down. I'm gonna make 2 loops of this on either side. And again, I'm gonna make it somewhat shorter. I'm gonna make it about 4 inches, sides facing away, twist, down, same thing, twist, push it down. I think that looks way longer than the other. Let's pull that in. That's one good thing about the Easy Bow Maker is that you can see exactly what your bow's looking like as you're making it. If you don't like something, heck, I've changed out whole ribbons before, gone back and changed them. Actually, while I was live here, like, "That's not working." Okay, it's better. Spread that out, but see how I'm kinda straddling my bow loops that have just one? That way all the bow loops are gonna be seen, and, this is a pattern that I use or a recipe, I should say, pretty commonly. And you'll get to where you develop certain, bow recipes or that you'll like and use over and over, and, I like to do that because then when I go to make my listing in my Etsy shop, I don't have to think about it as much. I can copy it and paste my Etsy listing. I know how big it is, I don't have to crack and measure. I'm just still fussing with that one loop, trying to get fixed. Okay, I think it needs a pop of green still in the middle there. So I'm gonna make a really small one loop on either side. And actually, I don't even want long tails. I'm gonna make real short tails. Okay, let's twist, push it down. I just want a little something in the middle here. And I'm gonna make this just a couple of inches. Okay, now let's twist, or I'm sorry, pinch. Okay, that's just gonna be real short there. All right, now same thing. We're gonna get our zip tie. I'm gonna put it diagonally underneath all this ribbon. Cinch it down pretty lightly. Right now, I'm just gonna work that up. Still got a hold of the ribbon pretty good. Now let's cinch it down lightly, just so I can loosen my hands. Okay, now I'm gonna start fixing my bow loops. Remember, I want this green to be visible between these two. It looks like that loop is a lot bigger than the other, so I'm gonna do some adjusting here. And like I said, if you miss that, you can still fix it later. Even though it's cinched down tightly, you can still get the ribbon to move just a little bit. Okay, now let's go to the green. I wanna make sure that's right between those 2 candy ribbons. Now let's straddle the red velvet over the green. Okay. All right, I think that looks good. Now let's look at our tails here. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna turn it over. I'm gonna put my zip tie underneath or my pipe cleaner underneath that zip tie. I'm doing one last check on my loops. Make sure everything's turned the way it's supposed to be. Okay, that looks good. Now I'm gonna cinch it down and then turn this off. And I think that would look best. I've got that dark green there, that emerald green. I think it'd look best if I bring a little bit more of that red velvet right there in the center. I'm not so sure I need the chenille. I think it'd look kind of odd if I have just one piece of chenille, so let me get some of the plain red velvet that is 1.5 inch, and again, I'm gonna cut lengthwise right down the middle here. I'm gonna go up about 8 to 10 inches. Don't short yourself, okay? I'm gonna take that and fold it in half so my raw edges don't show. Just fold that right there, go right over the top of that zip tie. Yeah, I like that. And make sure all your tails are on the right side. Turn it over, tie it in a knot, and then trim off that excess there. Now let's finish our tails. Let me get all this out of the way here. Again, I'm gonna dovetail. I pretty much dovetail all of my ribbons if they are sturdy enough to stand it. Sometimes if you've got a weaker ribbon like a satin, even though this is satin, but it's a good bodied satin. Um, Sometimes if you have a satin that doesn't have a lot of body to it and you dovetail it, they will just curl up on themselves. Um, and then too, like this lame ribbon, I'm not gonna be able to dovetail it because it'll fray. So there's certain times when I don't. If I don't cut it at a dovetail, I will, um, usually cut it at an angle. And like I say, we're just folding it in half, cutting at an angle. All right, let's now this one's the one, the lame that I told you that, I don't wanna dovetail that, so I'm gonna cut it at an angle again with it going upward toward the center of the bow, and this one's gonna be the opposite. Okay, so that makes a V in the center there. You see that? And you can use fray check, um, or I a lot of times will just singe the ends of my ribbons to keep them from fraying. If you're singeing them, you need to be really careful if you haven't done it before, or even if you have. I always tell the story of whenever I was doing that to some ribbon that was in a wreath. That's a bad move, but I was doing it, just ribbon in a wreath, and, didn't realize I had gotten too close to the frayed burlap that I'd used on the wreath, and that thing went up in smoke faster than you can think, but I always said I hadn't moved that fast in years. Okay. Alright, so here's our second one, and this is just an example. I mean, if you like other ribbon combinations or other, different recipes, you can do that, but that's the way to use the Easy Bow Maker, or the way I do it, so oh, thank you, Barbara. Wish you could do that. You can, Stacy. You sure can. Um, it just takes practice over and over. I always tell the story that, when I first started making wreaths to sell, I couldn't make a bow that saved my life, and I was just hard-headed enough I was gonna learn to do it, and it's just practice, practice, practice. So, alright, let me look through and see if I missed any questions. Gosh, you guys, thank you for all the follows. Thank you. Amber, yeah, the Bow Dabra, I have one, but I tell you, to be honest, the only time I use it is to hold mesh. If I'm doing some ruffles, and I need to hold a lot of them. I'm gonna turn you guys up here so I can talk to you. I feel like hang on. I'm moving you guys around. Sorry. I want to make you seasick here. Okay. Never mind that mess back there. I'm packing up some D-stash stuff. All right, let me get where I can talk to you. But anyway, like I said, it just takes practice and persistence. And I'm not saying I make every bow perfectly because I don't. There's a lot of times I remake a bow. I might pick the wrong patterns, or I look get it finished and the groups are a little wonky. So don't nobody's going to tell you anybody they're perfect, but it just takes practice over and over, and you can do it. I promise you. And I've got a lot of videos, um, on all my social channels that have lots of videos on them. Um, and just watch and watch and watch, practice, practice. But when I was trying to learn, I would watch it all the way through first, and then I would try to do it step by step, and do that step and then stop, and I do that step and stop. But to be honest, right now is the perfect time to practice making bows because I know Sam's Club has their Christmas ribbon out, and it's pretty inexpensive, and you can get a 50-yard roll of ribbon for next to nothing. And you make a bow, and then you don't like it, you rip it up and try it again. And I know you can do it. I have faith in you. All right, I'm gonna look and see if I have any other questions here. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you so much. Yes, Kim says a great deal on Sam's ribbon. And they have some nice ones. This one ribbon that I use it every year. This ribbon is a Sam's ribbon. I love it. It's really nice. It's nice quality, and and it's pretty. But I know our oops, I know our Sam's has displays where you can actually, they've got swatches of all the ribbons on either side, and you want to go and feel it. You want the wire and or the ribbon fabric to have a decent body to it. Now sometimes it can go the other way too. If you've got a designer ribbon that's real stiff, you probably need a little practice behind your belt before you try to make a bow with that because that can be hard to do too. But if you're working with real flimsy ribbon or ribbon that is not wired, it's going to be really difficult. I mean, once you get experience and you're proficient at bow making, there's little tricks you can do along the way to deal with that kind of thing. But, but yeah, just trying to find you a nice, decent quality ribbon. And like I said, Sam's Club's where I'd start. All right, let me look and see here. Kim's asking, is it more challenging making a bow with 4-inch ribbon? And the same rules apply. Kim. Um, Again, if it's really stiff, it can be hard to manage. Um, there's some medium qualities too. I don't have any 4-inch close, or I'd show you, but you're gonna run into the same thing. Not 4-inch ribbon. Well, some of it's gonna be lesser quality and less sturdy. Those are gonna be real hard to make a pretty bow loop with. Um, and that's not to say you can't. It is a little bit more difficult. And then two, if it's real stiff and you're a beginner, it's gonna be a little hard. But I don't think it's more difficult, no. I use a lot of 4-inch ribbon. Um, in fact, next I almost brought some to the table tonight, but I needed to make those 2 with the 2.5-inch ribbons. But next time I go live, I'll use some 4-inch ribbon and show you. But on my other social channels, I do have videos of using 4-inch ribbon. So, oh, they have 4-inch ribbon at Sam's? That's good to know. I didn't know that. I did get a 6-inch from them years ago that I use actually for some designs that I use on my home, and it's I think I'm either on 3 or 4 seasons of using them outside, uncovered. There were some red velvet ones, and, I mean, I'll probably get another year at least out of them. So don't discount the Sam's. Okay, I'm looking for some more questions here, you guys. Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Just look and see if I missed any questions. What's the number for the green ribbon? Are you talking about the lame ribbon? Is that the one you're asking? I'll tell you what it is. The SKU on it is RG0139906 on the 1.5 emerald. The other one, like I said, I've got that in my shop. Where is it at? But I've got it in my shop as a set, if this is the one you were talking about. Um, the SKU on it is 177. I think it's 597. It's 177197 if you're asking about this one. Okay. All right. Let me see if I have any more questions. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much. Kim, you haven't tried to make a bow yet, but you buy enough ribbon. I know. I know. I don't know what it is about ribbon that attracts us. But I have to say, I've done better this year. I've got, of course, I've got what I bought from my shop, but I haven't bought near the quantity that I did in other years. Okay, I'm still looking for questions here. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I really, truly appreciate it. Thank you, Leah. Thank you so much. Oh, Barbara says her Costco has Christmas ribbon. I was just telling my husband last night, I wish we had a Costco, but we do not here. I know we have them in Indiana, but we don't have it. So, okay. All right. I don't see any other questions. And that's all I have for you tonight. And as I said a few weeks ago, I'm going to try to get back to every Tuesday doing the lives with the bow making. I got kind of burnt out of it over this summer and I set back, but now we're in bow making season. So I'll go back to it'll be every other Tuesday that I'm doing bow making. I don't want to get tired of it again, but I'll be still going live on Tuesdays and I'll try to go ahead and do a bow while I'm making my design. But anyway, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. And if you don't mind to share this video, I really appreciate it. It helps me out. And that way, too, if you then ever want to go back and review the video, except on the shorter video channel, um, I can't say the words out loud, unfortunately, but it'll be there for you to review. So anyway, you guys have a great rest of your evening. As I said, at foxmybow.com, we do have some ribbons for sale. Um, again, I have red velvet there. I can't remember what sizes I have. And then at Adorable Deco Decor on Etsy, I got the bows for sale if you're interested. So thanks you guys so much. You have a great evening. Goodbye.